Is the question a statistical question? Yes or no? How many miles is your house from school? The key word here is your house. We're only finding one piece of data here. Is the question a statistical question? Yes or no? How tall are the students in my school? Students. That is a plural form, so that means there's more than one. So you will get more than one piece of data. Is the following statement true or false? True or false? A question answered by a single value is statistical. Remember, single is one. They're saying that is statistical. Is that true or false? 8 boys were asked their favorite color. Which dot plot correctly shows the data below? So 8, I wrote in the number 8 there because it's kind of blocking by that little circle. Here are our results. We have blue, green, blue, red, red, blue, red, blue, blue, red. What you need to do is you need to underline or count how many blues there are. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you find the dot plot that has 5 blue dots. Then you do the same thing for green and the same thing for red. You can put blue. We know blue equals 5. We have green and we have red. And then you find the dot plot that matches. The weight in pounds of each student in a class is shown below. Which histogram correctly shows the data? So here are our weights. The first thing that you are going to need to do is put them in order from least to greatest. And then you need to find out how many go in each category. So how many are from 90 to 100? How many of your numbers are 101 to 110? Then how many of your numbers are 111 to 120? And last, how many numbers are 121 or plus? And then you match the histogram with your results. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following numbers of goals this season. Here are all your goals. What is the minimum? So first, you need to order from least to greatest. And second, you're finding the minimum, which means the smallest. You're just writing the number. You don't need to put any words after it. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. We're going to be using the same question. Here's the number of goals. Now our question is asking us what is the maximum. So 1, you should have already have your numbers ordered from least to greatest on a piece of paper. So you can automatically go to step 2, which is finding the maximum. And when we find our maximum, my pet's having issues. We are finding the biggest number. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. Here's our goals again. What is the first quartile? So 1, you should have already ordered from least to greatest. Your second step is to find the median of the data set. And then your third step is to find the median of the lower half, or that is on the left side of the median. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. Same set of data. Here's our goals. Now they want to know the third quartile. So we are ordering, once again, from least to greatest, which you should already have done this. You only need to do it once to find out all this information. And in your last problem, you already found the median, so that step should be completed for you. And now you're going to find the median of the upper half. And that is on the right side of the median. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. Once again, here's our goals. What is the interquartile range? So step 1 is to order from least to greatest, which you've already done. Step 2 is to find the median, which you've already done. Step 3 is to find your Q1, which you did that 2 problems ago. That is the lower quartile. Step 4 is to find your Q3, which you just did in your last problem. So in order to find your IQR, which is your interquartile range, you are taking your Q3 minus your Q1. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. Same data. What is the median number of goals? Median, that is supposed to be. This is supposed to be median number of goals. So 1, you've already ordered from least to greatest. And you've already had to find the median because you had to find the median to find your Q1 and your Q3s. Your median is also called your quartile 2. So you just need to look back on your notes from when you found the median to begin with, and that's all you need to type here. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. There's your 3. What is the average or the mean number of goals? For step 1, you just need to add the data together. So you're adding all of those together. In step 2, you will divide by the number of pieces of data there are. So we are going to divide by, let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of data. So after you add the data together, you are going to divide by 8, and that will give you your mean. 8 players on a soccer team scored the following number of goals this season. Here's our goals again. What is the mean absolute deviation? So the first thing you're doing is what we did in the last slide. So you already found the mean. You added them all up and found the mean. So that is step 1, is to find the mean. Step 2 is you take each piece of data, you're going to find the deviations. And that is where you take each piece of data and subtract the mean. So you always start with the bigger number. So for example, we have 4, 9, 0, 1, 7, 7, 1, and 3. So whatever the mean was, you are going to subtract. but you need to put the bigger, bigger number first when you subtract. For step 3, you need to add the deviations. And then you're going to divide by the number of pieces of data there are, which we already said was 8. So you're always going to be dividing by 8. 8 students were asked how many miles they lived from school. Their responses were 1, 8, 8, 7, 2, 5, 10, 2. Which box plot best illustrates their responses? So what you need to do is first you need to order from least to greatest. Then you need to find the median. Then you need to find your quartile 1, your quartile 3, and last your whiskers, which is your min and your max. And then you need to match the box plot with that information. Those are a lot of steps there. A small group of students took a 4-question test. Their scores are shown on the dot plot below. Fill in the requested information. It may help to list all the scores from least to greatest. So absolutely. Step 1 is to order from least to greatest. Step 2, you can go ahead and find the mean. And there you have to add them all up and divide by the number of dots. In 3, you are finding the median of the data set, and that is the middle number. Mrs. Smith's students took a math test about statistics. Their scores are summarized in the box plot below. So if we remember from our box plot, we have our Q2 in the middle. This is our Q3 because it's bigger. Bigger numbers are up here. Here's our Q1. This is our min. And this is our max. So you need to, 1, find the median just by looking at your box plot. And then for your second answer, you need to find the first quartile. And remember, the first quartile is your Q1. Scientists measured the heights of trees and made a histogram to display the results. Your first question that you need to answer is, was the median higher or lower than 200? So your answer for the first one is either going to be higher or lower. You need to look at that histogram and decide. Second thing, how many more trees were there between 100 and 199 than between 300 to 399? So here's your 100 to 199. Here's your 300 to 399. So we're finding this distance right here. So you are going to subtract. You need to subtract. You are going to subtract 100, this one here, minus this one here. Find the mode of the data set. Here is your data set given, and you are finding the mode. Your first step is to order from least to greatest. And then you're going to find the mode. If you remember, your mode means the most. Find the mode of the data set. We're finding mode again. And here is our data set. Our data set is not numerical here. It's a little different. So 1, you will count number of trues. And you will then count number of falses. Sorry. And 3, you will compare to find the most. Find the range of the data set. The first thing you need to do is order from least to greatest. And then you find your max and your min. In range, you need to subtract. So for your range, you're taking your max minus your min. Find the range of the data set. You're doing the exact same thing you did before. You're going from least to greatest. You need to find your min and your max. And last, you take your max minus the min to get the range. Emily asked the players on her volleyball team their height in inches and listed the results below. Here's her results right here. What is the median of the data set? Round to the nearest tenth when necessary. So first, we are ordering from least to greatest. And then we are finding the median, which equals the middle. Emily asked the players on her volleyball team their height in inches and listed the results below. Same thing. Here's our results. We are now finding the mode of the data set. So 1, we are ordering from least to greatest. And 2, we are finding the mode. What is the mean of the data set below? Round to the nearest tenth when necessary. So here's your data set. For mean, we add all the numbers. And then for the second part, we divide. You need to figure out what are you dividing by. Count all of the pieces of data to decide what you need to divide by. Describe the distribution of the data displayed below. Remember we talked about if things were skewed to the left, skewed to the right, or normal. If it's positive or negative. So you need to decide, is this data skewed right, skewed left, or normal? Describe the distribution of the data displayed below. This data kind of goes like that. I know it does a little dip here, but that doesn't matter. It's mostly going in that direction. You need to decide if that data is skewed right, skewed left, or normal. Describe the distribution of the data displayed below. This is a dot plot, so it looks a little different. And in this dot plot, we're comparing two different people. We're comparing males and females because it says gender here, but that doesn't really matter. If your data goes like this and then like that, what kind of distribution is that? Is it skewed right, skewed left, or is that a normal distribution?